G'day guys, Tom Walton here, and we're back in the Paddy's kitchen for another markets menu. Today I'm making a green vegetable minestrone, so packed with nutrition, flavour, all the good stuff you want in a really nice broth, perfect for the autumn. Zucchinis, these look fantastic. Fresh peas, perfect. Yum. So good. Beautiful leeks. Celery. Let's go. One delicious soup coming up. We've grabbed everything from Paddy's Markets, and all we're going to do is just dice them up and get them sweating in the oil, and they're going to create a really nice flavour base for this soup. Generous amount of olive oil just into a pan. When you add any veggies, especially when you're making soups or braises or anything like that, you want to add a little bit of salt. And what the salt's going to do is it's draw out the sugars and the natural moisture, and you're going to get a lot more flavour out of that veg. So when I'm making soups or braises or anything like that, I kind of think about I'm creating foundational layers of flavour. So the better you look after the stuff at the beginning, the more flavour you're going to have at the end. Alright, so while that's sauteing off, we're just going to start to get the other ingredients ready. We've got some celery we're going to add, and we've got some garlic as well. And garlic's one of those things, I mean, a recipe can call for 2 or 3 cloves. If you like garlic though, you can add a lot more, especially this time of year. So we're going to add them to the leek. Really good for fighting off colds. And when you cook garlic down, it does really create a nice, sweet, mellow flavour. And this is smelling great already. This is the kind of food I personally love cooking. It's minimal ingredients, maximum flavour, and it's something you can make and have in the fridge and be eating all week long, and it actually gets better day after day. All right, so next our star ingredient, zucchini, which is fantastic in autumn. Autumn produces some magnificent zucchini. And zucchini is the same. As it cooks down, it becomes really sweet and actually creamy. One of my favourite ingredients to cook with. So just a nice dice. That's the other fun thing about cooking things like soups and braises is you can kind of, you can chat while you're cooking, you can have a glass of wine, you're not in a rush, you're just adding flavours and layers to it. You kind of start with the things that are going to take the longest, and then you finish with the quicker things. So that zucchini is going to go in because I do want that to sweat down. All right, so now the potatoes, same thing. And you want a nice like red skin, a Desiree, a creamy potato, because it is going to taste fantastic in the soup. And this is where like versatility comes into a recipe. The recipe is a guide, but if you wanted to use sweet potato, pumpkin, maybe parsnip, anything like that, it's fine. Put it in there. I think that's one of the best things about cooking is you can really make a recipe your own by, adjusting to what you have in the cupboard or what's in season. When I make a soup or a braise or anything like that, I really spend a lot of time here sweating it out, because that's where all the flavour and those natural sugars of the vegetables are going to come out, and that is where you're going to create that foundation. We've been cooking this down for about 5 to 7 minutes, okay? Then we're going to add some vegetable stock. You could add chicken stock, chicken broth. There's about 6 cups of broth going in there. And this recipe, it is vegetarian by nature, but I mean, this could be great if you had some leftover roast lamb in the fridge or anything like that you want to add to it. Like I said, it's really versatile. Even some pulled chicken through there, anything like that if you did want those other proteins in there. All right, so the other key ingredient in this soup are green peas. Now, you could get frozen peas, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think there's something therapeutic about just standing here and potting peas. And a great little tip is you save these pea pods, and if you wanted to, you can boil them up and you'll actually make a really nice sweet pea stock, which you could use in your next soup. Freeze it down, and then you've got zero waste happening as well. All right, so once you've enjoyed potting those peas, we're going to add them to the soup, and they're just going to cook out for about 10 minutes with the other ingredients. So while the soup's cooking, we're just going to make a little basil parmesan oil, which is just great for drizzling straight onto the soup. So some nice fresh picked basil leaves, some olive oil, kind of like a little pesto really, grated parmesan, straight into the blender. Nice little basil parmesan dressing. That's something, again, you can have in your fridge. You can even freeze this really well, but it'll last a week in your fridge and you've got it ready to go. So if you don't have a little blender, and if you've got a mortar and pestle, they're great. But if you don't have any of that, I mean, like all the flavors are there. So if you just rough chop the basil and then you're adding parmesan at the end, you're getting all the flavors in there. So don't worry too much about it. All right, this is smelling fantastic, guys. All we need to do, ladle it out. Yum. This is such comfort food. You can take this to work for a little work lunch. Light, nourishing, comforting, packed with flavour. I mean, that leek gives the soup so much flavour. This little basil parmesan oil, a little bit more parmesan, bit of crusty bread. This is me for dinner. So good. So that's it, guys, our green vegetable minestrone soup. It is so delicious, and if you want the recipe, head to sydneymarkets.com.au where there's a fantastic amount of recipes there. I'll see you next time in the Paddy's Kitchen for another Markets menu.